Welcome back. So today we're going to move on to a new type of equation. Instead of doing radical equations, we're going to solve equations that have rational exponents. All right, so let's take a look at what this means. So when we have an equation that's a rational exponent, what you're going to do is you're actually going to take the reciprocal power of it. So what that means, to take the reciprocal power, it means we're going to take both sides to the 2/3 power. All right? So you need to flip the power and take it to both sides. And the reason that this works is because now that actually cancels out. And on that side, you just get x minus 1. Now here on this side, really consider the bottom. The bottom is a root and then an exponent. So the cube root of 8 is 2. 2 squared is 4. So that's the power of doing this, okay, is you can actually get pretty simple equations. Because now all you have to do is add 1, and there you go. X is 5. So let's try that process again, shall we? So here, I need to take both sides to the 4/3 power. I flip the power because that cancels everything off on that side and just leaves me the x plus 2. And now let's think about this. So again, the bottom is a root. So basically cubed root of 27. And then the 4 is my power. Cube root of 27 is 3. 3 to the 4th power. You can either use your powers chart or a calculator to get that that is 81. Subtract 2 from both sides, and you get x is 79. So again, this review hopefully isn't too terribly difficult. All you have to know is to flip the fraction. Now, there is a little caveat to that that can make this a little bit trickier. So I want you to notice here, if the top of the original fraction is positive, you actually have, or is even, you actually have to use a plus or minus because of taking an even root. So let me show you what that looks like. So here I flip my fraction. That cancels that off. And now I have the square root of 25 cubed. All right, now the thing I want you to consider is remember way back in the first part of Algebra 1, when you square root in an equation, you end up getting a plus or minus. Well, the same thing actually still holds true. We have an equation and we're square rooting, so we actually end up with a plus or minus. So this is going to result in two equations, okay? So two equations, because now when I add that 3 over, I add the 3, I have this. So 3 plus 125 would be 128. 3 minus 125 is going to be negative 122. So you have to take both into account, all right? You have to solve for both. And again, this only happens when the original fraction has of an even number on top. So let's go through another one like this. So again, you have to flip your fraction because that cancels it off of the original. So you just have x plus 1 equals, well now I have the fourth root of 16 cubed. I'm taking an even root in an equation. And in an equation, when you have an even root, it is going to produce a plus or minus. The fourth root of 16, if you look at your chart, like I've taught you to, that gives you a 2. Have to cube that. So that's going to give me a plus or minus 8. Again, this happens because of that even root idea. So now I subtract the 1 over. That gives me two solutions. Negative 1 plus 8 gives me 7. Negative 1 minus 8 gives me a negative 9. Those are both going to be my solutions. So you can see here, it's getting a little bit more involved. However, I still believe completely doable as long as you remember that when you have that even on top of the original fraction, means you end up taking a root, and that means that you need the plus or minus. All right, so I thank you for joining me. Make sure you have all of this written down, and then make sure that you ask any questions if you're still confused.